Hello, everybody. I see people is still joining. So welcome to today's webinar hosted by Newired. Today, our guests are Stefano Rizzo, CEO of Newired, and Iji Valek, VP Product Management at Newired. They will reveal you why Newired is your actually DAP solution. So I'm pleased to hand over the word to Stefano to start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Loredana. I hope that you hear me okay. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining this today webinar. I'm trying to take my presentation. I think that we go. Okay, good. So let's start. So I'm Stefano Rizzo, I'm the CEO in Newired, and today I will briefly talk about the digital transformation. Then I will hand over the presentation to Iji Valek, our VP Product Management. He will go through the key features of digital adoption in general, and of course, some of the nice features that Newired provides to our customers. So we are in the scope of digital transformation, and the question might be, how can I become a digital transformer? So if tomorrow morning you want to become a digital transformer, your job is to find some agent, somebody who stands in the middle between people and the service, people and the product, and try a way to digitalize his job. Let me make an example. When I was younger, when I got into a bank, there was a nice guy sitting there saying, "Hey, Stefano, how are you today?" "I'm fine, thanks. How are you doing? What do you need?" "I need to make a wire transfer." And that was my job on that day. Let's say everything I had to do was to say hello and to say what I need to do. And now digital transformation created a digital agent that I can use without getting into the bank and help myself with technology. So digital transformation in general has the aim to remove the man in the middle. So, but this has a consequence. We have more and more digital agents, and we have more things that people need to do by themselves. So it goes on the shoulders of the user, most of the work that these agents were doing. And the consequence is that people need help. The case is pretty easy. My mother, she's 80+ years old. When she needs to do something like a wire transfer, calls me or calls my son. So we have a new agent that has a new job. My son is happy because he gets some 20 euros for this duty, but we are creating a new kind of agent. So we are creating, let's say, a whole category of people that are helping each other. So as digital adoption, digital transformers, what was our idea was to digitalize this new category of agents. So create something that replaces my son helping my mother in making a wire transfer. So digital transformation, looking at itself, was creating a new category of agents, and digital adoption is there to fix this issue. So the problem that digital adoption aims to solve in the market are mainly three categories, let's say, are many issues, but digital adoption goal is to help in onboarding users with digitalization, with digital technologies in general. So that's pretty easy to explain use case. You have a new user or you have a new tool and you need to embark somebody and train somebody to use this tool. The second is about user support. Once people are onboarded or are not well onboarded on the technology, at some point you will need to support them because they will need some help. And there are some clear, let's say, well-defined support places like help desk, for example. But there are thousands of other hidden support desks, which is the colleague. When you need some help before calling the support, you ask your colleague, or is, as I said, my son or my mother. So supporting user is another use case that digital adoption wants to reduce in scope or at least help. Last one in this categorization, but for sure not less important, is about process safety. Once you have onboarded users and once you support them in a nice way, at some point you will need to ensure that they perform in the right way, so that they do the right operations, that they fill in the right data, that they follow the right process. And as more as you move into complex and regulated markets full of functional safety, ISO regulations, we have tens, hundreds of regulations. Companies need to ensure that people using their tools follow exactly the process as it's being defined. And the consequence of this is, if we are able to increase the safety in the process, we will reduce the number of errors, we will reduce the number of iterations that we need to do over and over the products that we are developing. So these are the use cases, this is the need in the market, and what kind of solution does digital adoption provide? So I'm handing over to Iji now, and he will tell you something about this.
Thank you, Stefano, for introducing our, let's say, primary concept and market. I'm sharing my screen just now, and we want to speak about Newired solution. So let's say the Newired solution has one main, let's say, goal, and this is not just to, let's say, to train the people or consider the initial onboardings or the initial introduction to the specific technology that you decided to use as part of your digital transformation process. But as we know, I mean, the people forget, or we all forget, so we sometimes need to be retrained, and then there is a change in the process, change in the tool chain, and this comes with the frustration because the people hate the stuff that what was working yesterday is no longer working today, and for that we decided to bring to the market technology that changes the traditional way how people get enabled, how they get familiar with the changes through the concept that is called learn by doing. So we want to bring the content as close to the user as possible and as close to the target application as possible. And for that, I'll switch from the slides directly to my web browser, to the Google Chrome. And what we see here is a CRM application. It's the CRM application that you very likely don't know. And it doesn't matter because this is exactly what simulates the behavior of the first-time user when I got into this new CRM system. So there is a web application, a customer relationship management, and what we are capable of doing directly on top of any web application to enrich it, to augment it with additional layer, which helps the people to understand better what this application is about, simply seek for any assistance anytime they need. So I want to start with my first playbook, getting started. And as part of my getting starting procedure, I just want to to run through a simple product tour. What is the product tour? Product tour is a set of instructions that appears over my target application. I cannot do anything else. I just, let's say, follow the procedure, and it explains me what are the different components on the screen. It can also tell me that there is a specific panel on the screen. It explains me that I can click here on the create button, and then, let's say, go through any information that is necessary for me to understand what is this CRM system about. It's not just intended to help with CRM systems. Our solution works with any web-based management, web-based application. But honestly, if all what we can do is to explain what the user sees on the screen, we'll likely not be sitting here today. Because let's see, the digital adoption is not about being trained, but getting the assistance anytime I feel lost. So let's imagine that I want to create a first account in this CRM system. So again, I can just click help, and I can search for an account. Here is how to create a new account. So I click this how to create a new account button, and you see that it triggers a help, which tells me that I should click here on the create. So I click on create, and you see that immediately a next step follows, and it tells me click here on create account. So now it tells me, oh, well, you should fill in this form. So I here put my street address and city, and I put here some office phone. And when I'm ready, I should click next. So I click next. It tells me that I should hit save. And now it reacts to the fact that I forget to fill in some mandatory fields. And it tells me that I should fill in the name of the new opportunity. So what do we see is that I'm trained not miles away, reading some PDF manuals, not reading the knowledge-based articles, but anytime I need assistance, I can just click this help button and trigger the help procedure, the tutorial. Or if I just want, I can also design the so-called product tours that explains what is a particular capability about. And of course, it's not only about, let's say, training people about particular procedures, but also about data being correct. So for example, when I fill in here the opportunity and I want an opportunity to be in the USA, you see that we have extended this list that it automatically asks me, when you fill in the country, please specify also the state. So some instructions can conditionally appear based on the content that people enter into the target system. So the data or the content we present on the screen is also very conditional, and it can improve not just the let's say ability for the user to succeed with the use case, but also to enter a right data into the target system. So the Newired Journeys brings an interactive layer that is attached to any web application, so that people can learn by doing anytime, not just, on the on-site trainings or online trainings. But you remember when I was starting my presentation, I was speaking about this curve and about the fact that the change is inevitable. So from the early days, we knew that if you want to bring something like this into the end user environment, we need to make it simple for everyone to adjust the content. And honestly, not just to adjust, but also to create the content, because the content is typically prepared by the subject matter experts, but not by technicians. So from early days, we knew that we want to provide a zero code authoring environment. What I'm speaking about now. So what I was presenting so far is how the Newired solution looked from the end user perspective. But now let's think about how the content is being created, authored. And for this, we provide a solution called Newired Studio. What is the Newired Studio? Newired Studio is an application. It's a desktop application. We have the web variant for Mac, for Windows, and it contains a browser. So here in my Newired editor, I see the same web application that we have seen a few minutes ago in my Google Chrome browser. But it's not just the browser, it also contains the additional layer that helps me to produce these guides and tutorials that help the people with a particular process. And I want to show you how easy it is to actually create our first guide with few clicks. So I want to create a journey. Journey is our name for this tutorial, for a walkthrough. And let's call a journey how to create an account demo. And how do we start? We usually start with, let's say, introduction. Welcome. You will learn how to create an account. Of course, we can add pictures, videos, whatever. Let's skip it for now. And the real first step is that we want the user to click here on this create button, right? So add a new step, a call out, something that will be attached to anything on the screen. I just virtually select the element on the screen. I move it here on the right side. I say click here. That's fine. So what's next? Next topic should be click here on the create account. So add a new step, call out. I select account, click on create account. Again, I move it here to the right side. What else? I want the user to click here on set a name. So add a call out. You already know how to do it. I select here the name, enter the name of the new account, and we should finish with the save button here. So I select the save button, click on save. That's it. It took us probably 1 or 2 minutes, and we have prepared a first guide, first journey. We can just test it here right away, so we know that everything is working. So I click this little play icon. We start with the welcome page, right? It asks the user to click here on the create button. Now I should click on create account, enter the name, and hit the save button. That's it. Without any coding, I was able to produce such a guide and tutorial. I think this is just even easier than to produce any knowledge base article, record a video, and I'll speak later about translations, about how you can manage different variants and versions of the content. So this is the authoring environment that we offer to our clients to actually design all the digital adoption content by themselves without asking a third-party agency to code it or asking the technicians to embed it into the target application. So now you have heard about 2 major aspects of our solution: how it looks from the end user perspective, how easy it is to create these guides and tutorials, and I want to go through some of the, let's say, additional benefits and capabilities connected with our solution. So the first one is how it is simple and robust. Actually, we are thrilled by the fact that our customers love to use Newired, and what they highlight is that it's very user-friendly. They highlight the usability aspect of our solution, the application support, and that it doesn't require any coding, as I said. And this is possible through the fact that you configure, we have just one product that we ship to any client on the planet that can work with any target web application, the Siemens Polarian version, the Salesforce, the Workday, the custom application that you have built internally. And once you deploy Newired in your environment, it has been configured once by a technical specialist who understand a bit about the structure of the HTML, and this makes it possible for the content author to create the guides and tutorials that stay valid even when the target application is changing. What does it really mean? You may have a new version of Salesforce, you may have a new version of Workday with the new features, with updated layouts, and you don't want to redo these guides and tutorials from scratch always again and again. And due to our industry unique algorithms, we can really ensure that our no-code editor produces the content that is working no matter what changes happen to the target application, as long as the flow, of course, at least basically stays. The second very important aspect of our solution is that we are 100% dedicated to support the concept of security and privacy. There are two main angles how we, let's say, approach the security and privacy. The first one is we give you a choice to decide where do you want to host it. Do you want to host it in our cloud, secure cloud backed by SOC 2 compliant hosting companies? You can choose if you prefer the hosting company in the EU jurisdiction or in Americas. Not just the country where the data are, but the hosting provider for us is different for different companies, and we can really suggest we have a different hosting partnership providers, so we can really case by case, let's say, agree on where the data will be hosted if you select our SaaS hosting option, or you prefer everything to be hosted on your premises or in your private cloud. We have a solution that runs all the features in parallel, both in our SaaS or in your on-premise deployment. When we speak about analytics, and I can show you the analytics in a minute, you can decide what data we collect. So first, we may configure Newired that no data are collected at all, or second, all the data we collect are 100% anonymized, or if you really need to, from maybe even regulatory reasons, to keep a track who has been trained. So is Jack trained on a particular process? We can also have the analytics connected with a specific person identity. I will show you the analytics in a minute, just once I finish with the third main benefit, and this is the workflows that we provide to support the content versioning. Why is the content versioning important? Because we understand that the quality of the content is very often an important, not just important, it is business critical aspect of your operations. Some of our customers are in the regulated industries, so if the people would be trained wrongly, it may have a functional safety impact on the users. Some people may die, and because of that, even the training procedures needs to be reviewed and approved before they go live for the end users. So let me now demonstrate you what does it really mean to publish a specific journey to the end user. So you remember that I was using this Newired editor to create this how to create an account journey that we have just created a few minutes ago. I've used my Newired editor. When I'm using my Newired editor, it's my editing environment. When I create something, when I modify something, it doesn't mean that it is automatically visible to the end user. You need to go through the publishing process. What does it mean? I should mark my journey as completed, so I will mark my journey as active. And now the manager is being informed that in the Newired portal, there will be some changes pending from publishing. So where I am now I am in the third component that I wanted to show you today, which is called Newired portal. The Newired portal is the server-side solution that controls the publishing process, provide the analytical data about the content. I will speak about it later. Covers also the process related to the translations, deployments, etc. But for now on, we see that there is something called version. So it means that before the data can go live, you need to publish them. So what does it mean? When I created my journey, this journey is not yet visible in my browser yet. So when I click here on the help button, there's no this journey how to create an account/demo. So I need to publish it. So I submit the changes. I can submit the changes for the review we see that we have just added this journey how to create an account, or I can directly publish it as a live. For the sake of this presentation, I'll just publish it as a live, which means that I immediately mark this last version as active. So when I go to the browser, I refresh my screen. Now we see the new journey how to create an account, and it's the journey that we have created a few minutes ago using our Newired editor. I can click next, click here, click there, enter the title, and save it. So what we see is that we provide a simple but robust workflows to help you with workflows such as reviews, such as approvals. You can download the package as a Microsoft Word file that you can electronically sign and store it in a document management system. If you find an issue, you can easily roll back to any previous version. So if I want, I can roll back to this particular version. So now the users are on the previous version, and manage all these traditional publishing related workflows directly from the Newired system. Multi-application support. In today's environment, the users shouldn't be just trained on tools. You need to train the people on actual standard operating procedures, which in a real life may involve multiple tools. Maybe you need to start by creating an order in the CRM system. Then you go to the warehouse, you log the order in the warehouse, and then you need to go back into CRM to update some dashboard that the order has been completed. So in general, what I was showing today, I was showing mostly on top of one single application. But our solution can transparently work on multiple apps, and not multiple apps in an isolated way, but also over a tool chain. So you can create a journey that span over multiple tools and show an integrated guide how it goes from one tool to the other. And when we speak about a multi-application, it's not only about multiple applications, but also multiple languages. When we go back to our live environment, we can see that, let's see, all these instructions are independent on the content. I can switch here my language, that I can say, okay, I want the content to be in Italian. And now the content speaks Italian. How this is being managed, this is really important that we embrace the industry standards for the content translation. So what does it really mean? If I want to easily add a German translation, I just download a package, I send it to my translation department. The translation department use the industry standard tools for content translation. I'll use just this editor. I don't speak German, but I can use the automated translation for a few steps. The translation department use the industry standard tools. They send you back the translation. You receive it and you upload the translation. So I'll just upload the translation I've just performed a minute ago. I import it. I mark the translation as active, and as any change, it needs to go through the publishing process. You want to review it, validate that everything works correctly. I submit the changes. We will see that there is a new language, German. I publish it as live. And now if I refresh my screen, we will have the first journey translated into German language. So I can switch into German, and we see that hopefully I probably translated some other journey. So we let me see. This was how to log in. So if you log out, actually, sorry for that. Wie man sich anmeldet. So that's a journey that helps the user to log into the actual system. So you see, it took us again just a minute to process the translation. And again, the translation department doesn't need to be trained on Newired because they use the industry standard tools. So these are some of the key benefits of our application. And last but not least, let's say we are also very happy that everything what we were presenting today is ready to evaluate in a very easy way. So after this webinar, you can contact us and we can help you with evaluation of Newired, or with a proof of concept of evaluation on top of your applications. And we are absolutely transparent. So also the pricing is publicly available on our website. So you see the prices online, you can evaluate it easily and see how everything what I was presenting today works directly on the applications you are using internally, and how easy it is for you to create the actual content. So just to wrap up, why Newired? Simple to use, but you can produce the content that is very robust. Security and privacy is not an afterthought, but built into our DNA. We are ISO 27001 compatible. We have the hosting SOC 2, SOC 3 compliant. We provide publishing workflows even for highly regulated industries such as pharma or medical device manufacturers. We don't focus on supporting tools or being trained on tools, but we understand that the people, let's say, need to be enabled on the operating procedures, on the workflows that may involve multiple tools together. And if you run a global company, I mean, we can support everything into multilingual environment. That's what we wanted to show you today from the solution perspective. And now I will put the presentation back to Stefano.
Thank you very much, Iji. While I'm taking back the presentation, just want to tell you that the Q&A is open. You have a question panel in the controls of the webinar. You can ask questions. We will try to answer some of them. Eventually, we will get in touch with you later on for answers. So to wrap up, I wanted to tell something about one recent story. Connecting to what Iji was saying at the end of his presentation, we have a pretty easy and straightforward model to engage with our customers. And probably the beauty is the fact that you can start using Newired on one specific department, one specific application, one specific use case, and try it for a while. Can be 2, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, and then you will see that users will be happy, and you can add more use cases, more journeys, more content, and then you will expand. That's the case of this big customer, big enterprise. You know, KUKA is a leading provider of automation, and they have 14,000 employees globally. KUKA started the journey with us some 1 year plus ago, around 1 year ago, and they were pretty happy about the introduction, and they decided little by little to expand the adoption of our product into multiple applications. But what I want to share with you is what they report about the use of Newired. We were talking about these 3 use cases. So onboarding, they say that they save 50% in process training time. Actually, 50% of the time that their people need to be onboarded on new processes. And about user support, they saw 2 different things. The first one is that they have 30% less tickets, and also that the duration of each interaction is reduced. This has not been measured, but they see that it's shorter. And also something that it cannot be measured, as I said in the beginning, most likely, there are interactions that happen within colleagues and that are not tracked at all. Last, they measure 40% plus process conformity, which is an amazing result. So it means 40% less errors in conformity to the process. few words about Newired. We are a global company. We are in the market since 2016. Our first generally available version was version 20 in February 2020. So we've been in stealth mode for a few years, and in 2-3 years we were able to catch the attention of many customers to become one of the top 5 vendors in digital adoption globally for Forrester. Actually, the only one in the top 5 that comes out of Europe, and as Iji was sharing, very well recognized by our users and as testified by software reviews. Here's a bunch of our customers, of our faithful customers all over the world. As you can see, we have many customers in out of regulated markets, mechatronics, transportation, defense, energy, and banks. So we are very glad to be here and serving such big names. And I hope also that it will be a case for you to interact with Newired and have benefit out of our partnership. And this, it's all for today. So let's give a look if there is any question in the panel. Me and Iji will answer. So there is one. First one. Iji, probably you can take this one. Does it work with customized SAP change request and DG change request?
There are actually 2 flavors as far as we know. One is the let's say the old desktop client, and there is also the new web-based client provided by SAP. We work with the web-based SAP clients using the SAP MDG as well. It's not a, let's say, so it really depends on which version of the SAP MDG do you use in your organization. But if this is the web-based solution, then yes, the Newired can work on top of the web-based SAP clients pretty well, as its own, or in connection with any other tools that you need to integrate into a specific tool chain.
Yeah, there is another question that I will try to answer eventually. Iji will help me. The question is, how long does it take to integrate Newired with a target application? Actually, when we speak about integration, is not a traditional definition of integration, because there is no integration between Newired and in general digital adoption platforms with underlying applications, because we interact with a layer that stands on the screen as it was a user. So the magic of our technology is the ability to recognize the elements on the page, as Iji was showing in the demo, as it was a user. So there is no integration at the server level that needs to be performed. Actually, once you interact with us, we can send you a link. You can download our technology stack, install it, and then in our editor, you just write the URL you want to try Newired with, and it just works. So sometimes by mistake, we talk about the integration, but it's not the kind of integration that is normally intended in IT services, IT work.
Just one note on that. Technically, we can integrate with a SaaS, or not technically, we integrate with a SaaS product without, let's even touching the SaaS technology itself. So it can integrate also, let's say, silently just through the browser interface. So you can use it for the apps, or you can have a more deep integration. So for those that truly wants to integrate, for example, to pass some more information about the end user, what is the end user role, which department he's working at, etc. So we also provide APIs for real heavy integration, but for the initial integration, it's a zero time approach.
Good. We can take this last one, and then other questions can be answered probably later on. We will send individual messages for these questions. The question is about user analytics. So the question is about how can we understand if the content that we are creating is good, is used by our users and customers. Iji, would you like to take this one?
Yes, definitely. And it's I'll probably share my screen again very shortly. So you see my screen. So I was already here in this Newired portal, and in Newired portal there is a section called Analytics, where in the Analytics you can see let's say information about the journey health or the content health. So I can take a particular journey first. These are demonstration data, so it really, let's say, provide just a sample statistics. And for a given journey, I know who has executed it. As I said, this is 100% optional, so you can decide whether we collect the information who completed a particular journey or not. And then for a given journey, we also know, let's say, what over the time were the people succeeding, were they failing. We see the information about how many users has performed a particular steps. We also measure the information, how much time they spent on each step in the process. You can see that maybe some, let's say, specific steps takes more time. This is a synthetic data used for the demonstration, so that's why the data look, let's say, very statically distributed, but you can really spot over the real-time processes that the people get stuck on the specific steps. But if you don't just measure the information about the health or the quality of the DAP content, we also, let's say, can manage the information about the target application. So let's say on which pages in the application are mostly visited. You can let's say segment it by different geographies, by different departments, etc. Or just simply have an activity feed that measures everything what the users were doing, completions, drop-offs, actions. So we really provide a robust technology to give you information about how is the target application being used, and how are the people guided through our DAP layer that sits on top of the target application. And as I said, this is 100% optional. You can deploy Newired with no data being sent to the analytics server, or have everything anonymized, or have everything very personal. Or if you have your own web analytics module or learning management storage with learning record store and use the XAPI protocol, we can also integrate with your analytics or LMS systems.
Thank you, Iji. The last questions here are about how can I get in touch with you and try the product. We will be in touch with you, don't worry. And also with further information about the best process to onboard with the Newired journey. So thank you very much for your time today, and I wish a nice remaining part of the week. Thanks, Iji.
Have a great
Hi,
day.
everybody.